we're gonna have a little taste of something that little father's cooking corner here. So Troy, get your kitchen aprons out for your kids. We're gonna be inspired tonight by Roger's work in the almond industry, and we're gonna whip up some almond flour chocolate chip cookies.
All right.
So what you're going to need to we don't bake. I don't bake very often, just FYI. So but we're gonna hammer these out. So kind of the key ingredients or equipment that you're gonna need some kind of you could use a spoon, but I'm gonna tell you that's gonna be a lot of muscle. So I have a little hand mixer. You're gonna need your measuring cups and spoons. One of the things that I do know about baking is that it is a lot more scientific than it is about just sort of going with the flow. I remember my first time baking something. I think I threw Fruit Loops, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I just like, oh, this is going to be amazing, and it turned out terrible. So it was like a suicide baking dish. But anyway. So when it comes to baking, measurements and following recipes is always a really, really wise thing to do. And then we will obviously link up the recipe for these almond flour chocolate chip cookies. And so we're going to be dealing with only 8 ingredients. We have the almond flour, we have baking soda, salt, vanilla, chocolate chip cookies, eggs, honey, and coconut oil. So first thing you're gonna do when you're gonna bake something, you wanna pop on the oven. So I have the oven humming along at 375. Then you're gonna wanna measure out all of your ingredients. So what I'm gonna do here is, let's see if everybody can see me here. I've gone ahead and I've mixed up my dry ingredients, right? So I put the almond flour, the salt, and the baking soda. And then I'm gonna give it just a little bit of a stir to kind of like break up some of the clunks that come when you, like when you get almond flour in a bag, you get some big clumps and stuff. So I wanna kind of sift it. You could use a sifter, but it's too time consuming for me, so I'm just gonna do it this way. So I'm gonna mix all those dry ingredients together. I'm gonna go ahead and add my chocolate chip cookies or my chocolate chips. And so once all those dry ingredients are combined, I'm gonna move then to the wet ingredients. So the eggs, so 3 eggs. Troy, I can already see this happening with your kids, right? Just a mess already.
Absolutely. Hey, I was going to ask you a question too. We cook with almond flour, and I made the huge mistake one time of making the same measurement of almond flour that I would normally do for regular flour, and I learned that the fineness of almond flour, you don't want to do that that much.
No. So I have the eggs in the bottom of a bigger bowl because I'm eventually gonna mix up the wet ingredients, then fold in the dry ingredients. So that's why I'm moving to the bigger bowl. I've got a 1/2 cup of melted coconut oil. Excuse me. I'm gonna add about a 1/2 cup of honey. I'll take a spoon to kind of help that out. All right. Honey's a mess, but it's fun to lick.
Yeah.
All right. And then the last thing I'm going to add is my vanilla to this. So 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then I'm going to go ahead I'm going to mix up the wet ingredients here. And you could use like a power mixer too, like one of those KitchenAids. It doesn't matter. You could use a wooden spoon. I just want to get a good mix going in here. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to take those dry ingredients and just sort of slowly combine. The dry, oop, missed some. We'll get that in just a second. Okay, so we have our cookie batter right here. So next thing I'm going to do is once that cookie batter is up, I'm going to find my cookie sheets and I'm going to line them with some parchment paper. I like baking on parchment paper because it really helps bring the cookies up off the sheet rather than sort of, if there's no parchment paper, I feel like it really sticks to the pan and I just don't want to mess up the integrity of my cookies. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take about a tablespoon, I'm going to eyeball it, and I'm just going to create some dollops along the way. I might do like 6 across or 3 across. You could also use a like an ice cream scoop or something here too. But yeah, so you're gonna load up all those cookies. So I do about 6 aside, and then what I'm gonna do is go ahead and pop that in the oven, and I'm gonna bake those for about 12 minutes. And right at about the 12-minute mark, I'm going to open up the fridge door, or not the fridge door, that would be the wrong one, the oven door, and I'm going to pat them down if they seem to be rising up. And then they take approximately about anywhere between 14 to 16 minutes to bake. And let's just get this last cookie going. And I will show you the finished product in just a minute. So I'm going to just finish this. Get every last chocolate chip that you can see. All right. So these go in. All right. So one little quick thing about before I share you the finished product is that yes, these are like technically gluten-free. I guess someone might even call them paleo because there's no like refined sugar. And I know that when you I even know that when you process almonds down to almond flour, they don't quite hold as much nutritional value as say like the whole almond. So yes, they're technically paleo. Yes, they're technically gluten-free. And there's only 8 ingredients. That doesn't necessarily mean that like it is quote unquote healthy. Now, is it healthier than a cookie with, 13,000 ingredients in it that you can't even pronounce? Maybe. But again, I guess the point here is that it's just like I use these as treats, right? I think that I just really like the taste of these. They're fun to do. It's like do something fun with the kids. so yeah, it's not necessarily like I wouldn't like live off of almond flour chocolate chip cookies and say that I live a healthy life is all I'm trying to say. So there's your disclaimer. But yes, so oh, I just dropped one on the floor. But so when they are done, they'll come out and they'll look really nice and soft. And Troy, I'm going to try to send a couple of these to you.
Awesome.
But yeah, so there you go. You've got your almond flour chocolate chip cookies. And they'll come out a little bit softer than your normal cookies, and that's okay. But they're super moist, and they're really, really delicious. And I think I could probably eat all of these in one sitting.